Hello and welcome to How to Deal with Grief and Trauma. My name is Natalie Himmelrich. How to Deal with Grief and Trauma is completely self-funded, produced and edited by me, Natalie Himmelrich. Consider making a small donation to support the podcast. Go to bit.ly/support, capital G, capital T, and podcast. I repeat, bit.ly/supportgt podcast. Thank you so much. And for more information, please visit Natalie's website, join the podcast Instagram page, and subscribe to the newsletter to receive updates on future episodes. Welcome to How to Deal with Grief and Trauma. I'm your host, Natalie Himmelrich, and this is the final episode in our Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month mini series. Throughout October, we've honored the many phases of grief after pregnancy and infant loss. The loneliness, the body's memory, the continuing bonds, and the ways to show up with compassion and care. If you've joined along the way, thank you for listening, for sharing and holding space. If you're just discovering this now, I invite you to go back to the earlier episodes, starting with episode 142, called Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness, which sets the scene, and then continue with episode 144, which is a replay, alternating every second day with a solo episode like this today. Each one explores another layer of love and loss that shapes this experience. Today we close this special series with two essential themes that often emerge later in the grief journey. On one side is carrying hope alongside grief, by finding meaning, light and possibility again without denying the pain. And sustaining support beyond the early weeks, by understanding how long-term presence and care matters most once the initial attention fades. You know, it's interesting, as when I was pregnant, during the pregnancy at one point, because I had twins, they're always called in ultrasound or in tests at the doctors, always called twin A and B or 1 and 2, and we just couldn't deal with it anymore for them to be so impersonal. And the father of the girls said, why don't we pull a card out of this card deck of angel cards, which surprised me. If you know him, you understand. And so the first card that we chose or we picked out of the deck without seeing them was Hope. And so Hope became the middle name of Amaya. And I like it because it was with me all the time, and it was sort of the question, how do you keep hope when you lose hope? Sort of a play of word. Because grief and hope are not opposites, though it can feel that way at first. You know, in the early days, grief feels totally consuming. It consumes everything, breath, thought, energy. And hope might feel impossible, even offensive. But what I've learned is that slowly over time, small moments begin to appear, like a sunrise that stirred something in me, or a laugh that I didn't expect, or a conversation that felt genuine again. And these are moments that show a quiet return of life, not the end of grief, but the beginning of coexistence. So this is maybe something, if you're early in the grief, that seems foreign to you. So hear me out. Just set a scene in the future, because carrying hope alongside grief means giving yourself permission to feel both. It's knowing that you can love your baby fiercely and still moving towards healing. You can remember them and re-engage with life. you can hold pain and possibility. Many parents worry and have shared with me that feeling hope or laughing again means leaving their baby behind or forgetting the importance the baby has. But hope doesn't erase love, it transforms, or it's love transformed into growth and creativity and compassion. It might show up as starting a foundation or volunteering, writing, planting, or simply choosing to live more consciously in their memory. Hope can be small and fragile and quiet, and that's enough. It doesn't mean forgetting or moving on. It means continuing to live while remembering. And that is really intense and hard at the beginning. So if you're not there yet, don't force yourself to feel something or do something that is not right for you. So if you're listening and feeling hopeless right now, know that's okay too. You don't have to force hope. It will find its way back softly when you're ready to receive it. Hope after loss is not about returning to who you were. It's about becoming someone new. Someone shaped by love and loss, and the courage to keep living. And now let's talk about sustaining support beyond the early weeks. Because for those of you supporting someone through pregnancy or infant loss, here is something really vital to understand. The grief doesn't end when the flowers wilt or when the casseroles stop arriving. In fact, that's often when the hardest part begins. After the initial shock fades or reality settles in, that's when long-term support becomes essential. Do not forget that when your friend who's experienced a miscarriage or stillbirth or a neonatal loss becomes pregnant again, that they are over it. So how can you sustain support beyond the early weeks, months, years? Here are some gentle and practical ideas. I said this before, but it's important here again. Remember key dates. Mark the loss date, due date, birthday in your calendar. Write a simple message, thinking of you and your baby today. This means the world. Check in regularly. As I said, grief lasts longer than people expect. Send a note after a month, 2, 3 months, 6 months, or a year. Let them know you still care. Offer low-pressure invitations. Instead of expecting them to socialize or say, oh, you just need to get out. No. Say, I'm going for a walk. Want to join? Or, I'll drop off coffee on your porch. Stay curious and do not assume. Ask how they're really doing rather than assuming they're better. Because grief shifts, but it does not vanish. And talk about their baby. Use their baby's name. Speak memories out loud. It's one of the most loving things you can do. Because by you talking about their baby, you're not reminding them of something they have forgotten. You're not making them sad. You're making them seen and acknowledged. And be patient with the timeline. There is no expiration date on loss. Your ongoing presence matters more than your perfect words. Because sustained support is what helps bereaved parents feel less isolated, especially after society moves on. It's the reminder that you are still seen, your baby is still remembered, and is always remembered. For supporters, remember to care for yourself as well. Offering long-term empathy means finding balance, showing up with consistency, but not intensity. So practice self-care. And as I said before, find your support outside with another friend, with a peer support, with another therapist. Look after yourself too, to look after your friend. As we close this series, I want to take a moment to honor you. Whether you are a grieving parent, a supporter, a professional, or simply someone who wants to understand. Pregnancy and infant loss are among the most profound experiences of love and pain. I speak this not just from personal, but also from having worked with numerous grieving parents over the years, so from professional and personal experience. And yet, from this love, we often discover our deepest capacity for connection, empathy, and hope. Hope and grief will always coexist. So one doesn't cancel the other. They sort of dance together, shaping the story of how you continue to love after loss. And to all supporters, your steady, gentle presence is what keeps that hope alive. Thank you for staying. And for those of you listening to this that have been here for me, you know who you are. This has been the final episode in our Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month mini series. I hope these conversations have offered comfort, insight, and a sense of connection, whether you grieve or support someone who does. You can find my books, Grieving Parents and the Others, as well as the Healing Steps audio course and more resources, free and paid, at nataliehimmlerich.com. I link them in the show notes as always. Thank you for walking through this month with me, with tenderness, honesty, and heart. Until next time, take gentle care.
Thanks for listening to How to Deal with Grief and Trauma. If you'd like to be updated on future episodes, please subscribe to my newsletter on nataliehimmlerich.com. If you need grief support, please contact me for a 30 minutes free discovery session. How to Deal with Grief and Trauma is produced and edited by me, Natalie Himmelrich. To support this podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe to or follow the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you. And remember to keep breathing. I promise it will get easier.